Now, we'll continue to take a journey through the animal kingdom, from the simplest marine organism in the group Ambulacraria all the way to the complex vertebrates, the mammals. We'll explore how these groups are related, what makes each of them unique, and how evolution connects them together. By the end of our session, you should be able to do two main things. First, to describe the characteristics of the major phyla and classes from Ambulacraria to Mammalia. That includes groups like Echinodermata, Hemichordata, Chordata, and different vertebrate classes such as fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Second, you should be able to discuss what makes each of these groups distinct from one another, their body structures, habitat, and evolutionary traits. Let's begin with the group Ambulacraria, which includes two phyla, Echinodermata and Hemichordata. Now that we are done with protists, basal phyla, Lophotrochozoa, Ecdysozoa, let us now proceed with the evolutionary relationship of echinoderm to other animals. Echinoderms are placed with the Deuterostomia along with Chordata, Hemichordata, and possibly some others. The example is a feather star. Usually, its highly branched arms in suspension, feeding, although this probably reflects the original use of echinoderm appendages. Most modern echinoderms uses arm for locomotion, capturing prey, and scavenging the substrate for food. Feather stars can detach from the substrate and also use their arm in swimming and crawling. Echinoderms are marine animals with a unique five-part body symmetry or pentaradial symmetry and a water vascular system. Some examples are sea stars, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers. They are very important in marine ecosystem as scavengers and predators. Characteristics of members under this phylum would include calcareous endoskeleton in the form of ossicles that arise from mesodermal tissue, which is mostly calcium and are porous material. Adult with pentaradial symmetry and larva with bilateral symmetry, wherein in histology and embryology, we are mostly similar to that of the bilateral symmetry present in sea stars as well as in humans. Then the third one, water vascular system composed of water-filled canals used in locomotion, attachment, and or feeding. Complete digestive tract that may be secondarily reduced. Then the hemal system derived from coelomic cavities and the nervous system consisting of a nerve net, nerve ring, and the radial nerves. There are 5 classes under the phylum Echinodermata. The class Craniata, which are free-living or attached by an arboreal stalk of ossicles, flourished in the Paleozoic era. Example species would include sea lilies or feather stars. Approximately 630 living species are included under this class. Then, the class Asteroidea, rays not sharply set off from the central disc with ambulacral grooves with tube feet that each suction feet has its own suction. Then, Pedicellariae is present. Example are your sea stars or the starfish. Approximately 1,500 species under the class Asteroidea. Then, the class Ophiuroidea. Arms are sharply marked off from the central disc, unlike Asteroidea, the tube pit without suction disc. Example are your brittle stars, more than 2,000 species under this class. Then the class Echinoidea, globular or disc shape, no rays and has movable spines, skeletons of closely fitting plates. Examples are your sea urchins and sand dollars, approximately 1,000 species. And then the class Holoturoidea. There are no rays embedded in the muscular body wall, and example species would include sea cucumbers, approximately 1,500 species under this class. Now, let's look at the hemichordates. Hemichordates, on the other hand, are worm-like marine animals such as acorn worms. Although they may look like they share some features with chordates, such as pharyngeal slits, which hint at a close evolutionary relationship. One familiar example is the acorn worm. It lives in burrows in marine sediments and filters or deposit feeds. Another is Rhabdoplura species, a colonial species that lives in tubes. Although they seem primitive, hemichordates have gill slits and a structure similar to a notochord. showing a close evolutionary link to chordates. There are two classes under Hemichordata, the class Enteropneusta, which include your acorn worms, and the class Pterobranchia, which would include the Rhabdoplura species. Here is the sea lilies and the feather star. Here is the sea star, the brittle star, sun dollar and the sea urchin, the sea cucumber, acorn worm, and the Rhabdoplura. This next is the water vascular system of a sea star. The ring canal gives rise to radiant canals that lead into each arm. It opens to the outside of the body cavity through a stone canal that ends at a madreporite on the arboreal surface. Pollien's vesicles and Tiedemann bodies are often associated with the ring canal. Now we go to Chordata, Urochordata, and Cephalochordata. Fishes, vertebrate success in water. Now let us know the evolutionary relationship of Chordata to other animals. Chordates are placed within the Deuterostomia along with Echinodermata and Hemichordata. This tunicate or sea squirt, the Polycarpa aurata, is an invertebrate chordate that attaches to substrates in marine environment. Note the two siphons from circulating water through a filter feeding apparatus. Next, we move to the phylum Chordata, the group that includes all animals with a notochord at some stage of development. Chordates are divided into three main subphyla, the Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Craniata, or the vertebrates. Urochordates such as sea squirts and salps are marine filter feeders. Their larvae have a notochord but adults lose it. Cephalochordates like lancelets retain their notochords throughout life, making them more similar to vertebrates. Finally, the vertebrates or the craniates include animals with a skull and a backbone. The first vertebrate to evolve were fishes, which became highly successful in aquatic environment. Although phylum Chordata does not have an inordinately large number of species, about 45,000, its members have been very successful at adapting to aquatic and terrestrial environment throughout the world. Sea squirts, members of subphylum or Urochordata, are briefly described in the evolutionary perspective that opens this chapter. Other chordates include lancelets under Cephalochordata and vertebrates under subphylum Craniata. They are bilaterally symmetrical and deuterostomiate animal, a unique combination of 5 characteristics present at some stage in development. Kindly memorize this one. They have a notochord, pharyngeal slit or pouches, dorsal tubular nerve cord, post-anal tail, and an endostyle or a thyroid gland. Third is a complete digestive tract. Fourth is a ventral contractile blood vessels that separates the phylum Chordata from all other phyla. Now we go to the different subphylum and classes under the phylum Chordata. The first one is a subphylum Urochordata. They have a notochord, a nerve cord, and post-anal tail present only in free-swimming larvae. Adults are sessile or occasionally planktonic and enclosed in a tunic that contains some cellulose. They are mostly marine. Examples are your sea squirts and tunicates. Classes under this are your class Ascidiaceae. All are sessile as adults, solitary or colonial. Colony members interconnected by stolons. Sea squirts are an example. Then we have class Appendicularia. Planktonic adults retain tail and notochord, lack a cellulose tunic, epithelium secreting a gelatinous cover of the body. Examples are your appendicularians. Then we have the class Thaliacea. They are planktonic. Adults are tailless and barrel-shaped. Oral and atrial openings are opposite ends of the tunicate. Muscular contractions of the body wall producing water current. Examples are your salps, which may look like water jellies but without the calamai. The subphylum Cephalochordata as body laterally compressed and transparent.